Go ahead, guys.
That was a fun one last night. Just as you pour back through it, just kind of what are your big takeaways from that game?
I thought we played hard, and I thought we played well. We gave them some easy scoring chances, mismanagement of the puck. I don't think that was intentional. I just felt like we beat the puck up a little bit in some situations where we weren't under pressure, and we handed them a few good scoring chances, and then we kind of cleaned that up as the game went on. But I like the way we checked. I like the way we competed offensively, and special teams were really good and helped get us a win.
Imagine that the news of the day yesterday got that your group pretty fired up. Did you feel you had to help, maybe kind of wrangle in some of that excitement when you guys were getting geared up yesterday?
No. I try not to do that.
Yeah.
It's a long season, a lot of games. There's some monotony there. So I think whenever you get a game where, guys are really excited for whatever reason it is, that you kind of try and let them have that energy without trying to suppress it. And, we played with good energy last night, but guys were excited. They see the trades we made. They like the trades we made, the additions, the depth, and then obviously adding Kadri at the end of that. There's some of his friends still on the team, guys that have won with him in 2022. They, all the guys on the team know what type of impact player he can be. So they were excited, and we look forward to getting him in town here today.
With this condensed schedule and kind of, having those games the day of the deadline and just trying to kind of get it all together and all the things happening, all the reports moving, how do you kind of look at it with, as far as the players that are coming in, to be able to kind of get up to speed in as far as what, where they're going to fit, how they're going to fit in the room on and off the ice as far as personality goes?
Well, that takes time. I think like on game day, we're focused on the 20 guys that are playing that night. Some of them are new, so they get the nuts and bolts of our system play, our structural play. Like Nick Waugh didn't penalty kill a lot last night, but he's going to be a big part of our penalty kill, I believe. He got brushed up a little bit in the morning on that, but it's a big game, and we have guys that we trust in there. We'll build him into that role. So I think you kind of start with the basics. We went over the 5-on-5 play. I'll sit with him again today, go over it again, maybe with some video instead of just like a little chalk talk, and then leave it open to questions and more discussions over the next handful of games until he gets it really down and gets playing with our group. And that's kind of the same for everyone. And then you just kind of expand their role from there. Some guys you can jump them right into a regular role, but for some new guys, if things are different, you just kind of build them into it. It can be challenging, but our league's always played on trade deadline day. Like, it's not a day off for the teams. There's half the league is playing on that day, so it's not ideal some days when you got a lot of players moving in and out. But if you're just adding and you already have a group that's ready to play, it's not that bad.
During his presser yesterday, Naz was kind of saying, I don't think I've really changed much as a player since I left Colorado, but I'm willing to do anything. Does that kind of make it almost easier to kind of deploy and figure out where he fits into the system now that you've got him back?
Yeah. Well, we know him as well as anybody knows him, right? So that makes it easier fitting him into the system. And we'll play around with line mates, and we'll play around with how he's deployed, but I would agree with that statement. Like, if you look at him, the role that he's playing in Calgary, the analytics he has in Calgary since he left us, there's a lot of similarities there. So Naz is still Naz, and he's still a very impactful player. And then we'll just kind of play with who he's going to play with, what lines, what position, and we have some flexibility there now, especially with the additions of the centers.
Talk about the players getting excited. How jacked up did you get yesterday when you saw not only that news, but like you said, when you see the whole picture of the depth and everything that they did when the dust settled?
Well, I'm really happy with it. That's not easy to do. That's a big day for CMAC and his staff. I think every time you add someone, you get excited about the added depth, what they could bring, the flexibility it brings to your lineup. And then when you add a player like Naz at the end of it, when I thought it was probably over, then you start to get really excited, because it's going to be a deep lineup if we can get healthy.
While brings obvious size, it's one of the first things anyone talks about when they talk about his fit.
Yeah.
I was curious why that so specifically was maybe an important consideration to add to this team.
Well, because you look at the players that teams have added, Dallas, Mini, especially just to try and get out of our division, and you look at the size and strength and physicality of their groups, it's important to be able to match that and to be able to check that and be able to create offense against that. And it's not easy. Like, smaller players have a more difficult time creating offense against big, large D that are going to hang around the net. You got to be able to get to the inside come playoff time, and Nick has the ability to do that on the offensive side of it. He has the ability to check players on the defensive side of it as well.
Just talking about the intensity of that game against Dallas, having them kind of do this almost flip with everything that was going on. One day off, you got an optional skate, you had a pretty good turnout, and then a noon game tomorrow. Just,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big challenge.
Yeah,
against
especially the
Metro.
first game back off the road is always tough. That was a long road trip, and even though we had some days off mixed in there after the Anaheim game, like, the game last night wasn't an easy one to play. It felt like we were on, every week on the road feels like you're out a month. And so I was a little bit worried about our energy going into last night. It was great. Naz will come in tomorrow. Hopefully that sparks the group a little bit too. It's a big game for us, and I mean, you play the schedule that's in front of you, and some nights you're going to have your best and some nights you're not, but I expect our team to show up tomorrow and with some excitement, some energy.
Is he expected to play tomorrow?
He is. Yeah.
Good guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Kadri.
Sorry, guys.